some of the rules of the road that are important are things that I'll want to talk about. The number one rule of the road, in my mind, is that every boater has the responsibility to do whatever they can to avoid a collision. So I know that there's a myth out there that there's a right of way, that someone has a right of way. There is no such thing in California boating law. Actually, it's not California boating law. It's national U.S. Coast Guard boating rules. There is no such thing as right of way. So every boater has the obligation to do everything in their power to avoid a collision. Now, before a collision is imminent, there are rules, and there is a stand-on vessel and there's a give-way vessel. So there are those rules. Those rules exist, but it's not called right of way. And so the stand-on vessel is the vessel whose job it is, in a situation where there could be a collision, his job, the stand-on vessel's job, is to maintain his course and speed. The give-way vessel's job is to avoid that vessel, to avoid hitting that vessel. The first way is decided who's the stand-on vessel and who's the give-way vessel is kind of a pecking order, if you will. And the very first vessel, who is always the stand-on vessel in any circumstance, is a vessel being overtaken. So if the vessel is being overtaken by another vessel from the rear, that vessel is a stand-on vessel. His job is to maintain his course and his speed so that the vessel overtaking can take proper measures to avoid the vessel and not have to, well, I won't say not have to, but the give-way vessel's job is to avoid hitting the stand-on vessel, the vessel being overtaken. The second vessel, in the pecking order, the second tier is a vessel that is not under command. So that's a very probably technical definition, but for whatever reason, in some extreme circumstance or unique circumstance, a vessel is no longer under command. That could happen if an operator were to, say, have a heart attack, bump his head. If the steering mechanism were to break, then that vessel would be no longer under command. And under those circumstances, it would be the stand-on vessel, and any other vessel in the area would be obligated to avoid hitting that vessel. Number three is a vessel with restricted maneuverability. And restricted maneuverability can mean a lot of things. It most often means that the vessel is towing another vessel, the vessel is being pushed or pushing another vessel, or for some reason has very limited ability to maneuver. Fourth is a vessel which is limited by draft. So it has a deep draft and is in a narrow channel, say, and it can't go just anywhere to avoid another vessel. So it would then, in that case, be the stand-on vessel. The fifth tier is a vessel, a fishing vessel, which is engaged in fishing and has its gear deployed. That doesn't mean a guy trolling a single hook off of his sport fishing boat. What that means is probably a commercial fishing boat which uses large amounts of equipment like nets and things like that and has those nets deployed. That's a fishing vessel. Then is a sailing vessel, and finally a vessel that's under power. Now mind you, a sailing vessel is not a sailing vessel if her motor is on, even if she has a mast, even if she has her sails up. She's not a sailing vessel unless the motor is turned off. Then she's a sailing vessel.